On March 17, 1521, a Portuguese explorer and his crew first came into contact with the inhabitants of the Homohon Island. This discovery by the Spanish conquistadors would forever change these inhabitants' way of life. The island would later become a part of the archipelago now known as the Philippines, and the rest is history. But what exactly does the pre-colonial Philippines look like before it became the country which we now know of? A predominantly Catholic nation, heavily influenced by Spain, and has English as its secondary language, a unique characteristic which sets it apart from the rest of its Southeast Asian neighbors. As there are little to none surviving written history of its pre-colonial past, the answers that we seek lies on historical accounts of its neighboring countries, archaeological findings, as well as various artifacts which can be traced back to the Philippines. Popular belief credits Spain for civilizing and unifying ancient Philippines. The truth is, it was already living in a civilized society with advanced agricultural systems, political hierarchies, artisan crafts, as well as flourishing trade relationships with nearby foreign societies. As an evidence of literacy and early civilization, the Laguna copperplate inscription is the earliest record of a Philippine language, dating back to the year 900 AD. The text is written in Kawi script, mostly written in Old Malay, with influences of Sanskrit, Javanese, and archaic Tagalog. It decrees the acquittal of a certain person from its debt, with an equivalent value of almost 1 kilogram of gold. The order was granted by the Raja of the Kingdom of Tondo. Another ancient writing style, baybayin, had been utilized by the people to communicate. Bamboo and palm leaves were used as a writing material, the very reason why only a few have survived due to its perishable nature. The church also allegedly burnt and destroyed thousands upon thousands of scrolls as it was linked to Buddhism and witchcraft, something that the church clearly doesn't promote. Clues of its culture, tradition, and way of life were forever lost, never to be seen again. However, some information were preserved by a Chinese chronicler. During the Song and Yuan dynasty, evidences of Philippine and Chinese interactions were mentioned, possibly dating back all the way to the 9th century AD. Records of foreigners and foreign lands mentioned the country of Mai, which was ancient sovereign state located north of Borneo. People lived in large and populous settlements situated on opposite banks of a stream. The mountain range is flat and broad, the fields are fertile, and that the climate is rather hot. Products such as cotton, beeswax, pearls, tortoise shells, nuts, and clothes of various patterns are mainly the products offered for trade. Trading and bartering happens in the plaza, and arriving merchants must present the local officials with white parasols. The usage of white parasols can be linked to the practice of Buddhism. After agreeing on the prices, the traders carry off their goods and pay it back in the amount agreed on. It was described that the locals were trustworthy and that they never failed to keep the agreement of their bargains. During the Majapahit Empire of Java in 1365, the Nagarakrat Tagama, which is a eulogy to their imperial king, mentions the place of Saludong and Solot, which is the old name of Manila and Sulu. Another hint of Buddhist influence through the Majapahit relationship of ancient Philippines. At an even earlier date, an Arabic author, Al-Yaqubi, during the year 800 AD, recorded the alliance between Brunei and Philippines against the Chinese Empire, which they waged war against. Drawing from all these foreign accounts of ancient Philippines, one can safely claim that its civilization were forged by extensive and flourishing trade, forming alliances with its neighboring countries, and had a strong and consistent Buddhist influence. It is important to mention that ancient Philippines were not a single entity, rather a set of individual polities. One of the ancient kingdoms, among others, is the Kingdom of Tondon. Situated in the now known Tondo of Manila, it had diplomatic and economic ties with China during the Ming Dynasty. It was recorded that an envoy from Luzon arrived in China in 1373. The rulers of Tondo were acknowledged as kings and not as mere local chieftains. Trade flourished during this period, and it became a significant hub for distributing goods all across Asia. Tondo also received its early Chinese settlers during the Ming Dynasty. They thrived and lived in harmony with the locals, intermarrying with some of them. This intermixing were noted by the Spanish, which they called Mestizo de Sangli. Another kingdom situated in the southernmost part of the Philippines is the Kingdom of Butuan. The Kingdom of Butuan was known for its mining of precious metals such as gold. It received traders from China, Japan, and even coming all the way from Persia in the Middle East. A Chinese document describes the inhabitants as a small Hindu country with a Buddhist monarchy. Butuan's Raja presented the Chinese emperor with a memorial engraved on a gold tablet, a white dragon, medicines, spices, and a slave. This sparked an interest from China, and diplomatic ties between the two reached its peak during the Yuan dynasty. In 1300 AD, the Chinese annals reported that Brunei invaded Butuan, Sulu, and Mai, which would later regain their independence. In revenge, Butuan led an army and launched a counter-invasion of Brunei and stole two sacred pearls from its Raja. Derived from its old Cebuano term for trade, the Kingdom of Cebu was located in the now called Visayas region. The term Cebu originally refers to the harbors of the ancient town of Sugbu. To the Chinese, it was known to them as Sokbu. During Raja Humabon's reign, the region had since become an important trading center where products were exchanged with traders from Japan, India, and Burma. It was during the Battle of Mactan when Lapu-Lapu ended Magellan's journey to circumnavigate the world, delaying the Spanish conquest of God, glory, and gold of the Philippines by over 40 years. Artifacts have been uncovered, some by pure coincidence, and as an effect, it provided archaeologists and historians alike a glimpse of what the past looked like. A 2 kg, 21-carat golden image of a Buddhist Tara was unearthed on a riverbank just south of the ancient kingdom of Butuan. A hoard of golden treasures were also unintentionally found in Mindanao, which includes a golden Hindu kinari, a golden bowl, and a wide array of accessories and personal effects. This indicates that there were an abundance of gold in the area at that period. Chieftains and prominent leaders owned and wore golden items as a status symbol as well as for ritual practices. This is the reason why some people argue that the Philippines could be the biblical place of Ophir itself. Ancient Philippines, as it seems, were already enjoying the hallmarks of an early advanced civilization thanks to trade of not only goods, but as well as customs and exchange of contemporary ideas. Even the letter of Legazpi to the Spanish monarch in 1567 acknowledged the extensive and lucrative trading activities of the archipelago, interlinking other countries. So what did the ancient inhabitants actually look like? One priceless piece of document is the Boxer Codex. It is a document commissioned by Spain and was painted by an anonymous Chinese artist. It contains the perceived images of pre-colonial locals, how they dressed, and how they presented themselves. The drawings are extremely detailed, which defines their social status, occupations, and even one's place of origin. The old Philippines was already relatively multicultural and diverse during its time. By piecing all this limited yet significant information together, one can safely presume that the Philippines, who we now know, is rather different from what it formerly was. We are now traditionally different from the majority of our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters, yet it appears that we share a lot in common. Although we may have lost most of our history and cultural roots due to colonialism, we also have gained a new identity, utilizing it as an advantage in the new era of globalization. We were able to adapt to the demands of the global economy. If you enjoy watching videos like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.